meeting for Thursday, May 4th, 2023. Annie, would you mind doing a roll call for us?
Absolutely. Online, it looks like we have Carolyn Bean, Cheryl Hartman, Amy Bristow, Aaron Couts, Tyler Leonards, Melissa Fisher, Steve Mellenhobb, Violet Plummer, Martin Kidston, and MCAT. In 206, we have Commissioners Vero and Slotnick. We have Chris Lounsbury, Ann Hughes, Allison France, Andrew Chorney, Annie Cathy, Dylan Jacks. We have the Sheriff Peterson, Deputy Cochran, Sheriff Cochran, Carrie Powers,
Colin Lane, MMW Architects.
Colin Lane,
Terry Kendrick.
Carrie Kendricks, and Brian West. I think I got everybody.
Great.
Yes.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We have any public comment on items not on the agenda? I have one, but I don't want to jump in front of anybody else if anyone else has one. All right, my public comment. My family involved in our family, it's part of our family farm, is also part of a company called Corner Farm Village. And we have applied to the city, to the Utility Service Review Committee to tie into their sewer for contract sewer. And I just want to let people know that we've done this. It's public, but I want to say it out loud too. The county doesn't have any responsibility over this. This is a city decision, but I'm a public official and want to make sure that people know that they heard it from me. There you go. And if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer. I'm proud of the project. So. Okay, consent agenda. Doesn't look like we have anything to address there. In terms of action items, Caroline Bean is our first presenter.
Morning, everyone. Good to see you. Commissioners, I'm here to ask you to sign a contract with the State Department of Environmental Quality to enable the transfer of funds that will support our pilot heat pump water heater program. On Tuesday, you may recall, you approved the interlocal agreement with the city to get this program started. And then this is the second part of the approval process, the contract with the state. They will be transferring $43,500 to provide all the financial support for the project. I am working with Michelle Denman to create a budget amendment with this funding, and there's no county funds being used. It's all through the state. So asking you to approve the contract. Thank you.
I'm all for getting our 43,000.
Let's do it.
Yes, I'd move to approve the contract.
All right, do we have any public comment on this? All right, I would second this and call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Wonderful.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. And
Great
Annie, DEQ will be routing this to us for signature. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Brian's up next.
So it's going to be tag team. There's a bunch of it here. Sorry. I'm going to pass this over to one so she can sign. I know you guys hate signing things during meetings, but once you actually voted on it, if I could get both of you a wet sign. So Missoula County has been working with the Strategic Alliance for Mental Health and the Western Montana Mental Health Center on creating a crisis receiving facility in Missoula County. As part of that, Missoula County committed up to $1 million in American Rescue Plan Act funds, so ARPA funds, for that. This contract between Missoula County and Western Montana Mental Health Center is the process by which we will pay out those funds for the remodeling and operation of that space. And so what this contract does is lay out the terms and the process that Missoula County will follow as far as paying out those funds, and then also creates a backstop should Western Montana Mental Health Center, which will operate the crisis receiving facility, not be able to operate that for a defined period of time, which is 7 years in this contract. Then Missoula County would have the option to use that space through another provider to continue to provide that service.
That's a great backstop.
That's my quick summary, and Brian and Terry are here if I miss anything major.
Key points, Terry?
I agree.
So, and I am asking you guys to sign this today during admin, which we don't normally do, as opposed to through e-sign, just so that we can finish up that process and pay the contractor later today for the first part of the work that they've already completed.
Cool. Let's do that. I move that we approve the Adult Crisis Receiving Center funding agreement between us and Western Montana Mental Health Center.
you have any public comment on this? Or Martin, do you have any questions?
Not yet, thank you.
So, all right, I'll second this and call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we're done.
Thank you.
Yep.
Just one page.
Just the one signature page and then the rest of it is the actual.
Thanks.
contract. So,
I do want to say, just to give thanks to Terry, who has done heroic work moving this thing through up hills and over obstacles relentlessly and never giving up. And I really, really appreciate that. Good job.
this is it.
I knew you would say that.
Brian, who may have.
And when the bad stuff hits the fan, everybody calls you.
Yeah, thank you.
There you go. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, it's a.
Yeah.
No, small.
Adrian.
So Adrian is actually over in Billings, so Steve is on here in case you have technical questions. He's our radio expert on this,
Okay.
but this is a contract with a private landowner for one of our towers. In this particular case above Pierce Lake, that's part of our public safety communication system. This is the lease for basically having a tower on his private property that allows us, just as a reminder, we have 6 radio towers that are all tied together that allow us to be able to broadcast to both police and fire across the entire county. And so this is a lease for that one site above Pierce Lake. That's an integral link in our radio system. But if you have technical radio questions, Steve is on just in case, or specific questions about what kind of equipment is on the tower at Pierce Lake. He would be far more capable at answering those than I.
How long have we been leasing or doing this?
Yeah, so our public safety radio system has been in place for a number of years. Steve can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the current technology was about 2005, 2007, and Pierce Lake was not one of our original sites, Steve, but it came online maybe in 2010.
It was, yeah, 2005, 2010, somewhere in there, yeah.
So, but it gives us significantly better coverage into the Sealy Swan area than we previously had with just one tower up in that facility, which was up above Blanchard.
Great.
Yes,
$5 grand seems like a little small money for that.
He's very generous. This is also another contract you don't have in front of you today where we do need a wet signature as the landowner felt more comfortable with that, and Annie will circulate that.
Okay.
And there are 2 copies of that contract, one for us to keep and one to go back to the landowner.
Okay, I move that the chair sign the current lease agreement.
Any public comment? Thanks. All right, I'll second this and call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks. All
Thank
right,
you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
thanks, Steve.
You bet.
Sheriff, you're up.
Thank you, everyone, for allowing us to be here. We have an updated MOU that we would like signed between the Missoula County Sheriff's Office and the Rio Valley County Sheriff's Office, which allows members of their department to be on our special response team. I have Captain Jared Cochran here, who can answer specific questions regarding that, as he is our team commander. This agreement went into place, I think, in 2018 with Sheriff McDermott, and we would just like an updated MOU with current.
Great. Any changes, substantive changes?
None that I'm aware of. There was some verbiage changes that was made in this agreement. That was mostly legalities from the county attorney's office.
Okay, great. Let's keep it up.
Yes, keep it up. I
Keep working with Valley County. Sounds fun.
I move to approve mutual aid interlocal agreement.
All right. Any public comment? Or Martin, you have any questions?
Not in this issue. I have a question when you're done. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, I'll second this and all in favor.
Aye.
Thanks for making the trek all the way over. That was such a small one.
Yeah. Thanks.
Great.
Yeah. Okay, any correspondence? Discussion items. I hear that you guys are breathing more freely now.
Well done.
So glad. And thanks so much for all that you did on that effort. Man, Lord.
We'll say happy to do it,
No.
happy but happy that it's over.
Happy that we're signing
Yeah, and got a good chunk of time before it happens again.
Yeah.
Great. All right.
right now.
So Martin, please ask away.
Yes, thank you. It's about the legislature, so you're not quite done. As you know, the governor vetoed the marijuana tax bill based upon how that revenue is going to get dispersed. And in his veto letter, I wanted you to comment on a couple of things, if you would. One, he says that the taxes, and that would create a slippery slope and be an incentive for local jurisdictions to reduce their services while keeping taxes higher on their citizens. He goes on to say they can reallocate those dollars to capricious, unnecessary projects, resulting in a net increase of Montana's tax burden. And he goes on to say that's the county's jurisdiction to maintain its roads, not the state's. So I guess in terms, you guys use your tax revenue capriciously, and does the state have any role to help maintain the vast network of county roads?
So I will start with Juan and Josh, because I know you feel very strongly about this, and the gas tax factors into this, so that's why I want to say that. But I think I feel comfortable.
Please,
you guys want to talk about the capricious? I don't believe that's the case. Really important to understand, I guess, from the road tax standpoint, is that the county's ability to levy mills for roads is very limited because it is a mill that only applies outside the incorporated city limits, right? And so it raises a very small amount of money to be able to leverage larger amounts of money that come either through gas tax or through our ability to apply and successfully win federal or state grants. And so in the case of Bill 442, which is the bill that had an allocation from the state's, not the general fund, but the state's special revenue marijuana fund into it, it would have been distributed based on the gas tax formula. And I think my last conversation with Shane, that was right around $100,000 that it would generate towards to Missoula. And that is, from talking to Shane, well, as I say, is less than a mile of paving. So it wasn't a substantial amount of money, but every little bit of money that we can potentially use to leverage in our applications for federal dollars and for state grant dollars is really important for the county to be able to maintain those roads. So I guess I would say, I think the state does have a role to play in that particular wing. I think that 442 used the right formula, which is gas tax, which is based on county road mileage and population, to create a pretty equitable split among counties, I think was the right formula. I think it's a missed opportunity because maintaining county roads has always been a partnership between the counties and the state and the federal government to maintain road miles. And so I think it's a missed opportunity, I guess is what I would say.
Well said.
Maybe Josh, I
That's
think the other
really-
piece that goes to that is
That's
gas tax.
yeah, that's really well said, Chris. Well, I could add to that. It would be one thing if the only folks who drove on our county roads were our county residents who are paying property taxes for the upkeep of those roads. And if we had an occasional guest, but that is not at all the situation. We had 3.5 million tourists visit Missoula County in 2022 with an average length of stay of 6.5 days. For sure, some of that time was driving on our roads. As they drove on our roads, they generated the normal amount of damage that vehicles do on roads, and yet they didn't pay for any of that. We who pay property taxes here covered most all those costs. And this is another missed opportunity to share the burden that otherwise lands squarely on the shoulders of our homeowners and renters.
Thank you. And just one last question on that. The governor of the session seems to think that local jurisdictions aren't responsible enough to spend their tax money wisely. This has been a recurring theme from him over the last 4 months. So just what's your thought on that since it's come up so often?
It's a provocative soundbite.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
I'm sorry.
Man, no, that was well. That was a good soundbite. That was a good soundbite. I do see some hypocrisy, if not irony, in that our state legislature likes to turn and shake their fist at Washington and say one size doesn't fit all. We should have local control. We who are closest to the situation on the ground know what's best and should have decision making and authority. Yet they feel like that sentiment stops at Helena, when in actuality, it goes out to all of our counties and municipalities. We who are closest to the situation on the ground understand things best and should have the authority to make decisions for the folks we serve.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Yeah,
Thanks, Martin.
Thanks.
I think we're done.
I think that was it.
Thanks, everybody.
Your basketball,
You like my basketball thing?
no, what's happening tonight?
The Jedi basketball.
The
Oh,
Jedi,
the Jedi basketball. Yeah, yeah. I thought which
sorry, which
So,
basketball?
which basketball thing I made that joke about
Yeah.
texting with the governor the other day. So,
Ready to sign?
yeah,
Yeah,
let's sign
Perfect.
off.
Thank
But I
you,
didn't know, do we
everybody.
have anyone going? Do we
I'm
have-